Hey Joe, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you too. Good, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And as I had mentioned, this is 50s Nifty is an initiative mainly for people in midlife, as the name suggests, and also for empty nesters. I mean, a lot of folks in Springford area, we know each other, our kids who are in Springford. A lot of
Yes.
folks now are in that empty nesting age. And what we do is we do a lot of in-person and Zoom events for local, but also for global folks to bridge the gap, but within this age range, empty nesters. And I think, I mean, what I know is public service is a great way in the midlife to and for empty nesters. And I know that you've been doing it since long. So, any thoughts on public service?
Well, I got involved on the school board when I was 33. I'm 53, so it's 20 years later. I think it's important to serve your community in whatever capacity you feel that you want to serve it, whether you want to get on the Parks and Rec Board or zoning commission or run for office or wherever you can or be part of a local organization that does stuff. It keeps your mind going. And I got to meet so many people and make such great friends out of it that I can't speak any more highly of it.
Right.
Because if you look at life, I mean, you live at home with your parents, you go off to college, you make all the friends, you hang out with the friends, you meet somebody, you fall in love, you get married, it's all new. You buy the house, you have the kids, and then all of a sudden, it's the kid's gone, and you're sitting in a house empty and looking at each other, going, "What just happened?"
Right. Right.
Um, like, well, what do we do now? I mean, because for so long that was your focus of your life, and now what? And without being involved in organizations or maybe family, maybe you have a big family, or you don't have, if you don't have a big family, now you're at a void. And sometimes the void is all right. People enjoy that quiet downtime. For me, it's 24/7. I got to go, 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 go. And my wife will always say, you just don't stop. And I always say, when the top of the casket comes down is when you stop.
No, no,
You
no.
know, I can't stand the hours of looking at a box on the wall, or my mother used to say, the stupid box, the television for hours. And what is that doing for anybody? My major was music with an emphasis on Broadway. And there's a song from, I think it's by Birdie, I have a lot of living to do.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Midlife is not the end of life. And I think that's where we get caught up. Oh, well, the kids are gone and, the dog died and it's just us. And then what are we going to go for a nice dinner and hang out with our friends? No, get out there and do stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to get athletic, which this body was never made for athletic, but you know what? Get athletic. If I joined the Elks in Pottstown. We sworn in on Sunday, and you join the Elks. It's a social organization. They do things in the community. They do a monthly breakfast. I look forward to getting up at 4:30 in the morning and serving breakfast and BSing with people. And maybe there's Thursday night you play cards, and Tuesday night you do this. And on top of everything else, I do theater because it's another avenue to go out there, and it also adds the opportunity for you and your significant other, whether it's your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, to have conversation
Yeah.
about something other than, well, maybe we should paint this room.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we gonna have for dinner? Hey, last night at the theater, this went on. Oh, what a show. So and so showed up. Now, before you know it, that 3 hours you were watching TV for becomes a half hour because you spent 2.5 hours talking or interacting on some other level.
Right. No, 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 I agree. And I think that's where some of these Zoom sessions we do with professionals like you or people who have achieved a lot is, and I think talking like this and our audience looking at this or listening to this gives them a nudge to say, hey, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, great, I should be doing something like this also. And
And look, it's not for everybody. I get the people who just want to go off into the sunset quietly and do their thing. Whatever fits your personality, your lifestyle is what you should do. But there are hundreds of different organizations, whether it's volunteering to do something or being part of something. Like we were walking the trail down in Collegeville on the other side of Graterford Prison, and like 30 bikes came up, and they were all older people. They were in this bike thing where they take like a week and they bike the trail and they spend the night on the trail, or some of them spend the night, some of them join up each day wherever they are. And it was just something else that you didn't have to think, I can't do it.
yeah,
I had the pleasure of many years ago of meeting a gentleman named George Abbott. I don't know if you know who George Abbott was. George Abbott was probably the most prolific Broadway director that ever lived. He was 106
oh,
when I
oh,
met him.
wow.
Died, I think, at 106 or 107, right around there. The man swam into his early hundreds every day and walked. And so I say that because it's a number. We don't need that number to define where we go.
Yeah, right.
Look at Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, yeah,
Whether you like him as a politician or whatever, it doesn't matter.
agree.
Post the White House, the man did more for society than any other president had ever done.
Right, right.
And those are your inspirations to find it. And like I said, you could be on the boards of the park or zoning and planning, or be a board of supervisors, or run for state office,
Right.
or be a school board member. But do something to keep your mind going.
Right.
Yeah, there's
I
plenty of them. I
agree.
mean, there's the food pantries, there's the libraries, there's the parks. I help out at Edgewood Cemetery in Pottstown that was abandoned, and there's a group that comes out and cleans it every few months and does different things within the cemetery. There's organizations you can join that go and paint. Go out into nature and they'll do nature things. There's a community choir or a community band. There's bike clubs. The senior organization will have a lot, but if you Google organizations to join in Montgomery County, there's a ton of them that will come up.
I would say, like, maybe again, just for our audience, do you have any story or experience that resonates with you as you go through midlife?
I mean, I'll say it like it is. It sucked. The empty nest, there's no other way to put it.
Right.
I hate it. I hate it because you become selfish, right? You don't have that kid there anymore that's active, and you're active within what they're doing.
Right.
But as a parent, you have to let them grow. I think I stymied my son a little bit. That he's 25 now. He lives in Philly, and didn't want him to leave, and that was my selfishness. Because at 17, I left. I went off to college, and I never came home again. And coming from an Italian family where you're the baby, that wasn't easy on my parents. And they ended up moving 4 hours because I lived in Miami, 4 hours from me, so they could see more of me. My brother and sister were like, "What about us?" Back home, Orlando, then to see them from Miami. But I think as you're building and as your children are getting older, and the empty nest is coming, be prepared for it. Start getting active in organizations that I don't even fill the gap for your child, because it's never going to fill the gap, but fill that void that you may feel within you. I can't be busy enough. To me, I want to be busy 24/7.
Right.
I don't like to sleep. I think it's a waste of time. I just like to be busy. I like to be helping and doing. That's me. My wife would like to do puzzles, and she'd like to be active. But again, if that's what you feel you need, then that's what you do.
Right.
But don't feel like it's hopeless, that there's nothing there, that I don't know where, there's nowhere to go anymore. The kids are gone. I have no purpose, because that's not true. There's tons of purpose.
Right.
And loneliness is a horrible way to feel. We all going to feel it at some point in our life. No matter how much you try and hold it off, some point you're going to feel it. But if you know that there's activities there, and your friends group, I should say, a lot of friends. Some of my people go, "Well, you've got tons of friends." I do. I mean, I could be active 24/7 just in my friends group.
Right.
But I also put myself out there, so I meet people.
Right.
And there's a lot of satisfying things. When you think that your life is coming to that quiet point, and, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do, and you get active in these organizations, see other people who don't have a third of what you really have, also makes you feel better. And I'm a giver, so my wife would always say, if you win the lotto, you give it all away. Probably would, because I enjoy that. I want to see people smile and be happy.
Right.
So yeah, you never think you're going to get there. Like your parents were there. Wow, that's your parents. And all of a sudden one day you wake up and there you are. I cried for weeks when my son left. Literally sat in his room and cried.
Yeah.
We only have one child, and it was really, it still is. It's still in me. It bothers me. But again, that's selfish to me, because he needs to flourish. Public policy, you can't really dictate a policy for that. But what you can do is support the local organizations with grants and finances to make sure the opportunities are there for people to be involved. So support your local municipalities on their parks and rec side and their libraries. Support your local fire companies and civic organizations. So then people have a place where they can go. The Tri-County Adult Senior Center in Pottstown, which is, of course, in my district, is a wonderful place. Every day is a lunch. There's activities 24/7. And I see a lot of the same people when I go up there. And these people are very active, older people, older than midlife, seniors who have stayed active. And it gives them a place to go, and they play cards, or they do exercise, or they read, and it keeps them going. Like Mondays this, Tuesdays that, Wednesdays, there's always an activity. My parents were mooses. They joined the Moose. I grew up in the Moose Lodge. They had a dance twice a month that they worked to do. And in between they'd have meetings, and there were dinners and activities. So there was always something going on that they stayed active with. So, that's what I would encourage people to do, is look for those organizations. Well, I don't know if I'm going to like this. Nothing says you got to stay. Try it. You try that meal. If you don't like it, you don't have it again. But try it and see if it's something that you will flourish in. For me, theater is my escape. Yes, I love to perform. Of course, that's my background. But it's also the people you meet and the things that go on, the camaraderie you build. So that has been a big part of my life.
Yeah, I think, I mean, again, if maybe later he can, or your office can send some of the links to nearby like food pantries and other areas where people in midlife can go and start doing some whatever public service and all of that. So I would like to add that to the video later.
Yeah, and there's political organizations, whether you're a Republican or Democrat or an independent. There's always meetings that's going on there where you may want to door knock, or mailers, or just get involved with people who are doing that. I got a good friend of mine who is in his late 30s, almost 40, who volunteers at the Philadelphia airport 2 days a week, the information desk. When I was at the Kimmel Center, we had volunteers at the Kimmel Center. Maybe once a month you'd show up and volunteer. And you got to see the shows. And so there are those, you may have to drive a little, but there are those opportunities that people should look at. I don't know if the stadiums and the arenas have the same thing. I think they would. Maybe they don't take hundreds of people, but they do take people to help volunteer.
Right. And like you said, there
and
are
I think that's what we have to remember when we go to join organizations. Go in with an open mind. Because everybody wants the same thing at the end of the day. They want to be happy. They want to feel good about themselves. They want to live a fulfilled life. And when you go in with that attitude, there's no problem that you can't overtake. I laugh at my friends who are of the Jewish faith because growing up in New York, the Italians and the Jewish community were almost identical. I would say my mother makes lasagna, you always make skugel. You know, we were always the ones that if there was something that happened, it was their kids. You know, our mothers were always overprotective. You couldn't tell the difference between our parents, and we would laugh about it. But that's in every single culture. It's the same thing. And sometimes we don't want to recognize it because we're afraid of not understanding what that culture is, or I can't be part of that organization. Why not? People accept people. It doesn't matter who you are, and that's really when we talk about when we hit the midlife, open up your horizons. We've all been here. You grew up with your family, you grew up in that small little neighborhood where everybody was like you. And I ventured 1,500 miles away from home to a place I never had been, to people who I didn't know when I went to college. And that really was like, wow. It took a little bit to get used to it, but once you did, it was fine.
Right. And I think like you were saying, the midlife is the time where you don't have much, you don't have to run behind the kids and you're doing your job, but now you have a lot of time. So this is the time where maybe you can learn other things and with organizations and meeting people, other cultures, and bridge that gap.
Explore the culture.
Right.
Open the horizon. I mean, it's like trying the new food. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Move on to the next thing.
Right.
I had allergies all through my adolescence, and for years I was afraid to go to the allergist, so I wouldn't eat certain foods. I never ate a berry, never had avocado, still haven't had. I've had a little bit of fish. I've just dabbled in it. About 3 months ago, I went and finally had the full panel again, and it showed I was allergic to nothing. And my wife said, "I told you that for all those years." And for me, it was I never ate strawberry before. I never had a blackberry or blueberry or raspberry. This was a whole new world to me. Never had avocado, and I had scallops once. I had a little bit. She's like, "You could eat more than that," but I was still apprehensive. So it opened like a world that I've never seen before. It's the same thing that we're talking about. You worked your whole life. You were dedicated. You did the kids' sports or the kids' theater or the kids' organizations. When you were younger, you did all this, but over the last 20 years plus, that all went away. Now it's time to discover all that again, or something new. And when you're sitting in that rocking chair, when you can't do it anymore, and you're old, and you're into the winter of your life, you got great memories you can go back and remember and say, I lived a full life. That's all we all want, is to live a full life and be happy.
Agree.
But there are thousands of different things that people can do. Countless things and organizations to be involved in.
It's good.
But don't take money.
Let me ask, what kind of legacy would you want to leave to local community or midlife folks?
Well, my legacy, of course, is that we raised a great kid, and our child is set and had a wonderful childhood and is able to be an adult who feels like he can nurture people and nurture himself and have a family. Community-wise, that I've left my mark. I've done everything I can to better the community. When I left the school board, I felt I left the school board in a great place. I chose to leave the school board. I didn't get not elected. I wasn't pushed out of office to say you shouldn't run again. It was just time. I did what I felt I could do, and now I'm passing the torch to you and everybody else. From a state perspective, is that we get the state in a place where people feel like, wow, this is a great state of Pennsylvania. We're on the right path. What my initiatives have been: educational funding, restoration of commuter rail, or a transportation solution, to help people feel like they can live every day financially. So that's the legacy. But I always tell my colleagues this: we dedicate ponds and bridges and all that when people pass away. And they think I'm nuts when I say this, but I always say, if any of you are here when I pass, and I hope none of you are, because we all should be gone, and hopefully I'm very old, I want the worst road in the state dedicated to me. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, because no one remembers that serene lake, but they remember that road that they're sitting on every day.
Right.
They're using your name every day. And they laugh at me. They said, there's something wrong with you. I said, well, there might be. But, all kidding aside, I want to know that I've done as much as I can do and given everything I can and didn't hold back to help move our community. If you save one person or move one person, you accomplished more than you set out to. And that's really what I'd like to leave as a legacy, and say that's it. I was there for who I had to be there for. I was there to help, and always wanted to help. Age is a number. It doesn't define you. I've met people in the hundreds. I've met people in their 20s. The people in their hundreds sometimes are more active than the people in their 20s.
Right.
Um, you know, so again, I appreciate your time with me. And if there's anything I can do to help, or if you're having activities, let me know. I'm more than happy to come out and be part of it. Like I said, I'm looking for stuff to do too. You know, I'm in that group with those people. All of us are in this group together.
Right. No, no, no. I agreed. I mean, like I said, we do several Zoom sessions and in person. So I will provide the links to your office, and if people can join those and get help, that's the whole point. I mean, and it's a nonprofit. It's free. So any help from your office would be greatly.
Yeah, anything we can think of. I mean, we'll try and help you.
Sure. Thank you
But
again, Joe, for your time.
thank you. A pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
You
Talk
take
to you
care.
again. Bye bye.
Bye bye.